Archives of Prasar Bharati presents the timeless treasure of golden era.
We welcome you to our program. Welcome to Studio One.
From pursuing theatre as a school and college hobby to being a multifaceted actor today, Adil Hussain has come a long way. An alumnus of the National School of Drama, Adil has trained with many theatre gurus along the way. Today, we come face to face with Adil's life and works. Welcome to the studio, Adil.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us join hands to congratulate the first Indian actor, Adil Hussain, to win the top Norwegian film honour, the Amanda Award, for his role in the film, What Will People Say? And I personally salute to the ace actor as he has dedicated the Amanda Award to the people of Goalpara in Assam, where he belongs to, and because he believes in art can break boundaries of all kinds. Yeah. Okay, Adil, my first question to you is your childhood. As a schoolboy, theatre was a part of your dream, but did you ever think that this would one day become your career?
A difficult question because I wanted to be an actor, and for sure, and I hope that it will also be able to feed me. I don't look at acting as whatever I'm doing now over the years. I don't look at that as a career because I don't know what Oxford Dictionary defines the word career, how it is defined. I don't know that. I would like to find out, Google. And for me, I think that anything one loves to do, and if you really love it, then you do it. And that's sort of already rewarding because you're being able to practice what you love to do. And then after that, if somebody applauses or, you know, some people would give you money, which is like a dessert after a wonderful, satisfying meal. So I don't even think that I have an acting career. I think that that's what I do. I mean, that's my lifeline. That's my breath. Right. Yeah, but I never thought about that, that I will take up acting as a career. I thought I'll just act. There's a lovely instance my acting teacher told me about two poets. I forgot the names. They're very famous poets, Byron and Shelley or someone. And I don't know who is senior, who is junior. He's very good at it to remember. So one of them came to the other and said, I'd like to be a poet. So either Byron or Shelley said, oh, you would not like to write poetry, you want to be a poet, huh? So people, youngsters, when they want to be an actor, instead of saying they want to be an actor, they could say, I love to act. And you may become an actor if you practice hard.
True.
So I think I realized that I just loved to act. And that's it. I'm still doing it, and I haven't yet fallen out of love of acting. And I hope that I would like to act till I die.
Great. My next question is, you grew up in a small town in Goalpara in Assam where you were part of a large family. So I just want to ask that, did you get the support for your aspirations of becoming an actor? Especially your father was a school teacher.
When he passed away in 2003, with all my respect and love for him, no, he didn't. And I understand why he didn't. I empathized with him much later. I realized, okay, so as a father, the fear that you have, you know, how would you earn your living? Because that's the whole system which is in place in most of the countries, including India. And the system which is placed is because of the way that the Britishers ruled us, and then they left behind an education system, and the education system was actually designed to create laborers to run the country. And we are products of that. And now countries in Scandinavia and Finland, they have completely changed their education system because we have no idea what is going to happen even after 5 years. You know, if you look at the technological advancement and all that. So he, as any father would, thought that, you know, he has to have a degree and earn some living. And acting wasn't a sort of a career option for him. Sure. Like, he couldn't even visualize Adil as an actor earning money. So I understand that, but I felt that he also lacked the wisdom that what happiness is. And that is very important. How contentment fulfills a person, and no matter whatever the physical conditions are around, economical conditions are around the person is in, that does not bog down the person because he sleeps well at night. Like, I don't need a drink, I don't need anything. I go to bed and I sleep in 10 minutes. And I think that is what success for me is.
Right. That's because you're happy.
Yeah, but you are okay, you are happy, and happiness is also overrated. I think that happiness is...
But you satiate.
Yeah, you are at peace,
At
with,
peace
yourself.
with yourself.
That, I think, is the most important thing, no matter what you do. If you choose to be the CEO of Pepsi, and you can't sleep at night, and I don't think that's a good thing, that is successful life. I don't think that is successful at all. Success has to be that you go home and you have a wonderful vibration at home. You go home and you feel, oh, hey, everything is good. Maybe there is nothing in the house. Maybe just a floor and a pillow and a bed. And you go home and you sleep. So my father, I guess, was worried. And also, I think it is important that parents, I'm a father of an 8-year-old. I got married pretty late in my life. Now it's important that as a father, I know that I would like to protect my child from things which are uncomfortable in his life. But I feel that that's not because I love him. That's because I'm worried the pain that I will face, seeing my offspring in pain. You understand what I'm saying? That most fathers say, oh, because I love him, that's why I want to do this for him or for her.
And I want him to
but it's nothing to do with my love for him. It's to do with my pain that I will feel seeing my offspring in pain. So instead of working on my pain or fear that I have, I try to control my children. I think that needs to be looked at as well. It is very important that a lot of youngsters come to me and say, my father is not allowing me to do this. I'm like, you love your father, but go ahead and do what you feel like doing. It is not a disrespect to your father at all. At a certain point of time, your father or your mother will understand. Like my parents understood. I said, nothing doing, I want to be an actor, Nobody can stop me in the world. And after he was 92 and I went back home, I did a play in England in 2002 and came back to Gwalpara after like 1 year. So he's already mellowed a lot and we became friends, we were smiling and laughing. And then quietly he says, you must be doing something good. He always spoke to me in English. He taught me English. So I said, yeah, why do you say that? He said, no, I saw your interview on BBC.
Wow.
I was like, oh. So what does it mean? No, BBC wouldn't interview someone who is not good enough. So I said, you trust BBC more than your son, do you? So he laughed, I laughed, and so I'm happy that at least he saw that, and he was like, okay, this guy is, he can do, he will survive, and that was his only worry. He had nothing against acting, he has nothing against films. He loved watching plays, and he was a devotee of Tagore, and he tortured me with Tagore poems when I was a kid. And thankfully he did torture me that I'm in love with Tagore. Yeah, so that's the long answer to your short question.
Okay. Like Gwalpara is seeped in culture, especially the Gwalpariya folk music, dance. So were you also part of that?
I grew up listening to all sorts of, like as I said, my father was a devotee of Tagore, so since morning there will be Tagore songs, and then Thumri and classical vocal songs, and Dhrupad, and Gwalpariya song is like our dal bhat. And you listen to Pratima Pandey, you listen to Bhupen Hazarika, and they shaped our consciousness. They introduced us to the finer aspects of humanity through their words, and about romance, about nostalgia, about love, including love for your region and culture and country.
That's how it came out. Your Amanda Award went to that.
Yes, absolutely. I was told by a very, very famous psychiatrist that the things that you learn till you are 4 years old is what you are. After that, only intellectual development happens to some extent, but the inner emotional drive and your aspirations, they may change, they may evolve, but the foundation is... So it is very important for parents that how you treat your child till they are 4. It goes into the inner system. True. So I thought that, yes, it is very important, because if I wasn't born there, I wouldn't have been here sitting with you to having a chat. So yes.
So the range of films that you have acted in Adil, I mean, it's actually, to say, mind-boggling, because it's English, Malayali, Hindi, Assamese, Bengali, and now this Norwegian film. Has it been easy for you to break the barriers of language, culture?
I don't think if it was easy, then I would do it. It should be difficult. Because when we put ourselves in difficulties, then only we grow. But you don't look for difficult situations, by the way, youngsters. Don't look for it, it will come. Don't worry about it. But there is the whole idea of method acting. You should have a very difficult life to be a very good actor, nothing doing. Language had been a forte. I was a mimic actor. I fell in love with mimicry when I was a kid. So I felt attracted towards different kinds of accents, for example, So I had the knack for it, and so I used to mimic all kinds of accents, from how the Bengalis would speak Bihari, how the Assamese would speak. When the Assamese people speak in English, they speak something like this quite often, and how the Bengali would speak Assamese. So I had that, and so when I have to act in a Malayalam film or a Norwegian film, I don't look at that as a language, like a sound for me. So you hear the sounds. Because also in my training process, I realized that the meaning of a word is in the sound of the word. So the dhwani is the doorway and window to the primordial meaning of the word. How words came into being, I think till today I haven't read any concrete history that how did it come. All these different kinds of words in thousands of languages across the globe. We have no idea how it came into being. So while doing Shakespeare, that was my focus. Like, I have to find the meaning. Of course I know the meaning. Anant, Ananto, chai ek de do, Ananto. For someone like Anant is a guy, who serves tea or who teaches me, Mr. Anant Kumar. But Anant. So when Einstein would say Anand would mean very different than when Adil would say it. So how do I understand the magnitude of the meaning of Anand? So that fascinated me. And then when I did Shakespeare, Othello, I did it for 10 years. And I tried to go and I explored each and every word. When I prepared for Othello, I locked myself in a room from 10 to 5 and then 6 to 9 for official rehearsals. So I used to just go through each and every word and try to find even the meaning of in. What does it mean by I-N? In. How does it sound? How does it feel? So otherwise, how am I'm in the room. No, I'm in the room. In. So I, E, and how it vibrates. So that's how language was very, very important for me. So I didn't look at that as language. I looked at that as a combination of sounds. So it is extremely fascinating for me to, I have to speak Norwegian. Great. Can you tell me the, I know the meaning, the so-called meaning, the intellectual meaning, but I would like to know feel the emotional meaning of it. How it feels in the body, which are the resonators which vibrates. When I say over, O-V, R, over. So how does it work vibratorily in your body? So again, long answer to a short question, but
okay.
I also teach acting, so I thought that these people are here and they should be benefited as well.
So after your stint at London on this Charles Wallace scholarship, you went back to Assam.
I did, yeah.
Why didn't you stay back?
No, I think after I came back from England after the course, I was looking for something more, something deeper in England. The whole idea of going to England was that I had a lot of questions which nobody could answer. Then I realized those are very philosophical, so they were not really bothered about my question. They would like say, no, but you just do it and find out. So I'm like, yeah, but I have this question, why should I act? So acting I know, but do I have better things to do? Because how does it serve the society? I mean, of course I'm having fun, blah, 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 but am I doing something good for him or for the rest of the world? Because I come from a very principled family. My father was like very, very strict, principled people. Anyway, so those questions were not answered and I came back. I met my teacher who taught me at the National School of Drama. His name is Khalid Tayyibji. And Khalid Tebji is youngest son of India's one of the foremost diplomats, Badruddin Tebji, who is responsible to bring this Ashok Chakra into the national flag, I was told. So I saw his performance and I was completely blown by the performance. And I thought he is the person, he's the actor that I'd like to be like. So I went up to him and I asked him that I would like to work with you. And he said, how much money do you have? I said, 100 rupees. He said, great. Can you organize 100,000 rupees within a year? And you have to have an Enfield motorbike, he specified, and meet me after 1 year. I give you 1 year time. And I fell from the sky because I stopped taking money from my dad since I was 17. And I was already 30 then. So I said, okay. So if there is a will, there is a way. I knew that, but I thought I should practice it and prove it. So I went to Assam and I joined the mobile theatre company, which is commercial mobile theatre company, which travels from one town to the other town. And I performed for 9 months. Every evening I had to perform. Not only one show, maybe sometimes 2 to 3 shows. And I earned 160,000 rupees and I saved 140 and I bought a motorbike for 20,000 rupees and I had cash those days. I had cash 1 lakh and that money was not for him, that was for me, so that I can look after myself, so that he doesn't have to pay me while he teaches me. So that I traveled for 2 years on my motorbike with him. After a point he left. He had to go somewhere. I continued the travel for 2 years and I fell in love with India. That's the time that I got introduced to this amazing magical land that we have, and I hope that we are treating India well nowadays.
So of all the roles that you have portrayed so far, if I were to ask you if you can think of one role which you would like to come back and do it again and act again, which will that be?
Yeah. I think all of them. Yeah, because, you know, when I watch myself, I always start like this. Oh God. And of course, somebody is sitting with me, my wife or my friends, and what happened? I said, no, I just messed up that part. So, you know, you look at yourself and realize that I could have been more deeper, more relaxed, and I could have expressed less, I could have contained more, because cinema is a different medium. Theatre, like, I have to reach out to the person who is sitting at the end, you know. So you express yourself. In cinema, you don't need to express. You need to just feel and you will be caught. Because camera can come here, you know, as if someone is sitting on your lap, looking at your eyes. And this proximity is only invaded by 3-4 people in your life. Your mother, when you are young, your lover, dentist, beautician, maybe, doctor. No, nobody is allowed to come this close. Yeah. So camera comes this close. And that's why I think people are in love with the film actors, because they think they know. Because only your loved ones can come so close, apart from dentists and beauticians. And you can see the person's everything, you know, the shape, the texture of the skin and the size of the teeth and nostril, everything. So you think that I know this person. That's why they'll fall in love with film actors. That's why the star system is born, I guess. That you see them in a huge screen. And so when I see myself like that, I'm horrified. I'm like, oh God. So your mistakes are blown up 20,000 times. And, you know, you feel like, what have I done? In some places, you're like, that's not bad. Yeah, that I can live with. And I constantly think that my grandchildren would watch me thinking they would heard that Adil was a good actor. And then watching, finally found in YouTube, I don't know what system will be there then, an hologram or something. But I heard he was a good actor. What is he doing? So I don't want to be insulted by my great-grandchildren. You know? So I'm worried about that. So I would like to do all the roles, please. Yeah. Okay, if you can manage to do that for me, I'll be very happy. Thank you.
You've worked with lots of directors in theatre as well as films.
Gee.
So if I ask you if you can name 2 directors, one in theatre and one in films, who's made a very deep impact on your life?
You're putting me in a lot of trouble. I think Royston Abel, who is my classmate as well, and very dear friend. I'm too old to say my best buddy, but he is. Because he pushed me and tried to almost throw me off the cliff. So Othello was a play which he pushed me. I was ready to be pushed as well, of course, but you need a taskmaster who's sitting outside, because actors are quite self-indulgent and to some extent narcissists. They think they're great, you know. So you need someone who has the eye and who has, without the ego part of it, the love for the truth, who helps you to hunt down the truth of the moment. And he was like that. And because we are so close and we can criticize each other like anything, so he was pretty nasty and at the same time ruthless and loving to me. And he pushed me hard. And because of that I went in to, oh, this is not the bottom of the truth yet. But there is no bottom of truth anyways. But at least that this much I can dive in and I can have to come out to breathe. He would be the person I would name, Royston Abel.
Now, you have a lot of memories of co-stars who you have acted with. So would you like to share with us some moments with some actor? Maybe if I start with Sridevi, who's no more with us, and some others.
No, Sridevi was exceptional because when I acted with her, I was like 4 or 5 films old and she was 290 or 95 films old. So I was a novice in front of her. That's what I thought. But since my experience in theatre was so
deep,
because of people that I worked with, Barry John, and
seeped into theatre.
yeah, and also the people that I had to encounter in theatre, on the stage. Barry John is one of the tallest figures of theatre, I would say. And he played Iago, I played Othello for 10 years. And when I was cast against him, Royston, I said, Roy, he's Barry John and I'm Adil from Gwalpara. Because this is how small towners we feel,
True.
It took me 40 years to get rid of that hesitance that I had, that, oh my God, I'm in Delhi in NSD, and this Barry John, and that I'm also okay, I'm not, it takes a lot of, so all people, those who come from a small town or economically in a lower strata of the family, to gain that confidence to stand in front of a person who you have kept in high esteem and from a higher class economically, it takes a lot. So if you don't work on that, what we end up doing is we play the overconfident. Hey, main hu. So this comes from fear, dadagiri, or the overconfidence. It comes from fear because I try to impose myself because I fear that he would otherwise impose himself on me. Instead of just relaxing, it's okay, it's Barry John and Nasiruddin Shah, we are acting together. I have deep respect for him, but you don't have to be scared whom you respect. That is a very important, I can understand it intellectually, but to be able to emotionally do it, it's very important. So with Sridevi, I had no, I love her like anything. I saw her sadma, I couldn't eat for 2 days, when I was 15 years old. I felt so touched and moved. So that's the first thing I told her when I met her for the rehearsal. I said, I saw your sadma and I couldn't eat for 2 days. And I suddenly recalled that experience of not being able to eat. I didn't remember it for a long time. And I'm working with Sridevi, okay. Sadma. So I met her and she looked at me and she had tears in her eyes and said, thank you so much, you remember that? I said, yes, of course. So we became instantly comfortable and we had such a great time working together. She is such a warm actor, she would give you so much. And she is one of the finest actually we have, and we have never, ever, till today, no director in the country actually managed to, exploit her talent.
Yeah.
I can say this and I can write a book on it if I have to explain to somebody. She's an actor of the caliber of Meryl Streep. She could have won way too many Oscars if she had good writer and good directors, excellent writers and excellent directors, which we didn't have. Yeah, so she's definitely one of the amazing actors that I have worked with.
Any other person who you would like to talk about?
I would say that Barry John, in theatre, he's like the most generous actor that I've ever met. He was my teacher as well. And he's like a mountain who stands and who's ready to, it's like a jugalbandi happens between two brothers. Imagine Gundecha brothers, and they don't hate each other, they love each other. So you throw and it's, ab tumhari bari hai, to ab batao. So there was a Japanese actor called Oshi Oida. He says that you should always prepare the ground for the other actor to act. In the process, you end up acting. And I was pretty touched by that sentence. Of course, there's the whole book called An Actor's Adrift. Yes. And I realized that that's what Barry John was doing for me. He was just there for me. And he was always there. You come to the stage and he's there and you say your lines and he's like, okay, it's your space now, have fun. So I think I owe him a lot. a lot. And as a teacher, Nasiruddin Shah had been a great teacher. He was so passionate that he will beat the hell out of you. He didn't, but I'm saying that he's
Capable of.
gets irritated very quickly, but with a lot of love. So that was he's amazing. Another co-actor is Dilip Shankar, who I consider as my mentor. Still, he's my mentor now, and he will remain my mentor till I die, I guess. So I had been working with him on a play called Karmnishtha, which is the dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. And Krishna happened to be my dream role to play, because I just finished reading Sri Aurobindo's Gita 2-3 months ago, and I was wondering how, if we imagine that he actually lived, and say he actually lived, and he lived, he was born, we were very close to his birthplaces and all that, Mathura, Vrindavan, and the Kurukshetra as well, which is very close. And someone told me there is this tree there in Kurukshetra where this thing happened. That area is still there. So I want to just explore as an actor that how, in the human form, Krishna would talk to Arjuna. This amazing wisdom, the magnitude of the wisdom is, how would an actor do it? And in order to do it, what would I have to do to prepare? So that is a great challenge, and I've been doing this play with him for very few people, actually, just 10-15 people. So I'm playing Arjuna now, he plays Krishna, so I would like to play both the roles. So he has also asked me to play both the roles, and he will direct it. So I'm preparing for that, and I hope to share with you whenever it is ready. Wow. So Dilip Shankar is the other actor.
Okay, Adil, another question is, every actor one point think that I shouldn't have done this role or that role. Is there any regret you have about any role and later you became famous for that? I mean, while you were choosing the role, you were slightly reluctant, why should I do it?
No, I have no regret whatsoever.
Okay, that's nice. Mukti Bhavan, I feel that you were amazing in that film. Would you like to talk about that film? When you were asked to enact that role, and then how you went about it, and then you won an award for that.
Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful movies. Recently, a BBC critic and Observer's critic in England has declared it as an international treasure, Mukti Bhavan, and it's releasing in 50 countries.
Yeah. Congratulations.
And this applause should go to Subhashish Bhutiani, who is the director, writer. He wrote this film when he was 23 years old. And he directed the film when he was 24. And when I was asked to play the role, I read the script and I was like, how old are you? So he said, he's very, very humble, down to earth, I see traces of Ang Lee in him. That it's like his old soul in a new body. He's so wise. So I kept asking him when he directed me also, how old are you? He said, I'm 24. So no, I know it. I'm just trying to reflect when I was 24. I was thinking nothing about anything else but girls, So actually the film came to me towards the end. Almost like a month ago. So I had very little time to prepare. So I told him that you are my director, you are the writer of the film, and I don't have the audacity to come in now and say, okay, this is how it should be done, I should do the role. You tell me, how do you want me to play this role? And it's your vision that I have to fit in. And actors are supposed to fit into the patra. That's how actors should be. We like water, transparent, flexible and liquid, and to have the ability to quench your thirst as well. So these are the three qualities that I think the ancient Indians believed in when they spoke about patra in Natya Shastra. So I follow that principle, at least I try my best to follow, and I fail quite often as well, but I follow that principle that you tell me how should I mold myself into this particular vessel. And he came up with very, very interesting clues which I had to, because he doesn't understand my language in terms of acting language. I come from a different school of acting. He has a different understanding of acting. So, but in the rehearsal only, we just rehearsed for 2-3 days, and I just walked, put on a mustache. Does it look okay? And I changed my walk. Yeah. Oh, this is the walk I want. And because I realized that he sits, and he's an insurance clerk in a small town. He will be sitting all day in the desk. So his spine is not going to be like that. So something like that, and it happened. I also have stopped working as a method actor. because of reasons. I believe that is extremely efficient system. But I started following something which is, I think, is very Indian. That you behave not as the doer, but you are the instrument, and let things happen. Of course, for that you need to work hardest, I guess, that you don't think all the brilliant ideas which come to my mind, that this is how acting should be done, this is how I do this role, I have to know. So all those brilliant ideas, I generally flush it into the toilet, and I don't know how to do it. And you go to the set not knowing how to do it. And then when that's the time magic happens, that you don't know. If you know it, then mostly it is stereotyped. Somebody has done it. It's the impression of all the things that you've seen. So it is, most of the time it's cliche. It could be appreciated as well, but I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not something new. I think the word creation or srishti, it means something you haven't experienced at all. Then when it's new. So srishti cannot be old, it cannot be stale. So how would I do something if I've already thought I will do it this way? It is not new. Even if it is new when you thought about it. But now when I'm doing it, like right now when I'm talking to you, it has to happen now. So I have to submit myself to the moment of now, which is the most difficult thing in the world to do. All the Rishi Munis, which they are trying to do only that, to submit into the now. So it is difficult. So I try my best to sort of be here, and I don't know what to do. And if I know what to do, that means I'm failing myself. So I try to just be there and follow the director's order. Okay, after doing it, he says, Adil, can you just go a little to that side or this side? Not physically, but internally. And I try to follow that, and he says, okay, great. Because anyway, I don't have any idea how he's going to edit it, what music is going to come, what he's going to do in terms of the rhythmic, narration, what kind of sound he will put in, atmospheric sound. So all these dictate the film. Film doesn't happen when you shoot. It happens much after in the editing table and all that. So I just submit it to him and to something which I don't know. I call it the goddess of creativity, and being an Indian. And yeah.
Right. Okay, so your award for the best actor for this Norwegian film, what will people say? Can you talk to us about what kind of role you enacted?
Right. What will people say? Log kya kahenge? Logo ka kaam hai kehna. We had been hearing Rajesh Khanna singing that song in
Amar Prem.
Right. So, and we all grew up with that.
Yes.
Yeah, kya kahenge yaar. And it's also, I grew up in the same situation, what will people say? So when I was asked to play this role, I instantly connect. I was like, okay, yeah, it wouldn't be so difficult. So I'm supposed to play the father of a 16-year-old child who was born in Norway. I came from Pakistan and settled in Norway. So this daughter who goes to school mixes up with all the Norwegian community, which includes also white people and also has the Pakistani or Indian community. But she obviously born there and speaks that language. So her software is completely Norwegian. She looks hardware is very Indian, but inner feelings and everything is very Norwegian, And of course, certain amount of Pakistaniness or Indianness is still there. So that conflict, which is very old conflict. There's nothing new about this subject. We all have it. What is new is that how it has been told, and what is the extent that a father can go because fearing what will people say. So his actions were so harsh out of the fear that he will be boycotted by the Pakistani community there, and nobody is going to come and buy things from the shop and blah blah blah, and he goes into that trauma and he takes extreme measure. At the same time, he loves his daughter. He just loves her. He knows that she is so talented, she can do this. So those shades were also there. And that was very difficult for me to have both the things. When I'm stern with her, harsh with her, is it possible as an actor for me to bring that love as well? It's very difficult. And I tried my best, and I guess for some reason it worked. Otherwise they wouldn't have given me the award. So it did work. Yeah, so that's basically the film. And finally, she was kidnapped by the father, because you are not allowed to beat or slap your child there in Norway. You'll be taken to jail, actually. That's extreme that way there. And so without wish of your child, you cannot take her out of the country. So she was kidnapped in a way and taken to Pakistan, and she was kept with their uncle. And what happens in Pakistan, and then she comes back again her father brings her back to Norway. And then she, that girl, Nisha, she leaves her home for good. And her father sees her leaving and, fleeing the house, but he allows her to leave. He steps back, is okay, I have done enough, I can't do anything more about it. And that girl who went, she became the director and she wrote the film and she directed the film. That's her own story.
Oh.
So it's amazing, in the while premiere, one of the brothers who helped the father passed away. One of the brothers who helped her father to kidnap her came with the other brothers to see it and congratulated me.
Wonderful.
It's amazing,
Amazing.
how things
Yes,
change
yes,
and
of
people
course.
evolve,
Yes,
and
yes.
that they forgave each other. But it was a huge trauma for Iram, the director and the writer of the film, to go through the whole thing. But she let out that anguish and anger she had through the film. So art,
True.
sort of tries to wash away the catharsis.
So one last question and then it's open to the house. If I ask you as an actor where your heart lies, is it theatre or film, what would you choose?
Theatre, any day.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Because
now it's
there's no hesitation in there. No,
so now it's open to the house and you can ask questions.
Hi sir, I'm Shatrupa.
Hi, Shatrupa.
And I would like to ask you that how do you manage so much work within just 24 hours?
How do I manage? No, am I doing too much work?
With theatre and movies.
I haven't been doing much theatre, no. I wish that I could, and I wish theatre had little more money. Theatre actors can do theatre and they don't have to fall for the glamour of the film world, because theatre is, I think, such a medium that it creates that vibrant connection between the audience, much more like I am here and imagine me here now in our Skype. It will be two different things. Yeah. So no matter how powerful cinema is, but when there's a live actor and live audience, nobody can replace this experience. We need a lot of money to really practice good theatre, not ek theatre show kar do wahan, ek kar do wahan, not like that. It has to be in the education system. It has to be as important as mathematics, as important as physics from kindergarten. And then we'll have a different kinds of society, and I think the government will spend way less money in law and order. If we have theatre practice
absolutely.
from the childhood, people will understand what empathy is, what love is, what compassion is, what other point of view is. Even if it is an opposite point of view, we don't fight, we talk, we converse, not debate even. Because debate is okay, is good, but we can converse, we can talk. And we don't have to fight at all. We don't have to have a tolerant society, because tolerant is the last thing that I would like to be. I would like to be in a harmonious society, not tolerant society. So theatre needs a lot of money. So I hope that that happens.
I'd just like to ask you one question. What is your take on comedy? And
Okay.
do we see you in future in a comical avatar? Or?
Well, I told you I was a stand-up comedian.
In
I did a
future?
film called Z+. Very few people have seen it, but it is a satire. I am a trained comedian. I have been trained
fantastic.
as a clown. I clowned across the globe. Clowning is something very different, which you need your costume and everything. But the political satire we used to do in Assam, from 85 till in 1990 till I came to NSD, I was a part of a group of 4 people. We did a lot of political satire, not the slapstick comedy, but extremely political satire and very funny at the same time, because we didn't have any malice against the people that we were talking about. It was with the intention of reformation and not to put down the other person. Because comedy quite often happens putting down the other person. It's always a fall of status. It's always, all the jokes that you hear, I think 99.9% of the jokes are about putting down the person, the language, the culture, the customs, the values. It's always about that, or about I'm putting down myself or I'm trying to put down somebody else. But I think that comedy is okay. Our egos should also be trampled upon sometimes. But also the pure laughter, that happens in clowning quite often. Not the clowning. I had been trained as a particular performative form called general tomfoolery. Like you wear a costume of your own design and your face is painted. And then you go onto the street. You have no script, you have nothing. You go onto the street and you start interacting. But your motto is that you become the receiving butt of the wrath of the world, so that people can take out all their frustrations on you. And after that, you gift a smile. By doing what? That will happen in the interaction. So that I did for a long time in Europe. I used to teach at the Drama School Amsterdam and the Royal Conservative Performing Art in The Hague in Holland for 3.5 years. And that's the time that I practiced the most there. And I have done it here also in NSD and Mangolpuri and all that. But I haven't done it for a long time. So I will invite you once I do it and please come.
Adil Sahab, I'm Rajiv Kumar Shukla.
Hello, Rajiv ji.
You have done theatre, you have done films, you have done television.
Ji.
Did you ever do radio plays?
I did one radio play, but I did a lot of work on the microphone. As I said, I was a part of a stand-up comedy group, so we used to produce cassettes those days and our programs, and those were extremely popular, and we had thousands and thousands of followers, in Assam. I did a radio play in All India radio station in Guwahati. The name of the play is, I did two actually, not one. Jyoti Prasad Agarwala, who is a very famous Assamese writer, Karengor Ligiri, and I did Hinghor Hail, The Laughter of the Lion in Guwahati. That was in mid-80s.
Okay, so during your formative years, is there any event or experience would you single out for your remarkable success as an actor?
I did my first play in 1971. It was a half-an-hour skit, and I finished the play and I came out and I asked my co-actor. It was a 2-actor play. So I asked my co-actor, "Aadha ghanta ho gaya?" He said, "Yes." But it felt like 5 minutes. So for me, time stood still. It's like later when I grew up, I read Theory of Relativity, Brief History of Time by Einstein and all that. That time stands still for people who are deeply involved in something. And it really stops your aging. It gives, it's like almost you are above the time. The theory of relativity, that time is relative. If you're speaking to a beautiful looking, for me, if I'm talking to a beautiful woman, according to my idea of beauty, then 1 ghante ke baad you would think, oh, acha, 1 ghanta ho gaya, acha, pata nahi chala. Acha, theek hai, you can go, whatever. And if you're not enjoying the conversation, you're like, 5 minutes bhi 1 ghanta jaisa lagta hai. So, when theatre, that experience made me experience time in a different way. I did not know that when I did it, but something which I felt was like, wow. Only that particular feeling was there. I wouldn't have been able to articulate maybe the way I'm doing it now. But at that time, it felt like, so that was the thing which kept taking me back again to the rehearsal space to do theatre and theatre, to act. That it sort of condenses and it shrinks, it intensifies your experience of life. You're living way fuller than you live in everyday life. So for me, acting is truer than real life. That when I live my life in a given space, I'm more focused, I'm more alert, I'm more aware, I'm more concentrated, I'm more attentive, and I live fully. In everyday life, you say, you don't mean those words, good morning. It's not good morning at all. What the hell are you doing here? It means that, I can say, I love you very much. You're saying, just get out of my life. So, even if I have to do it, even if I have to act like that I'm saying I love you, but I mean I hate you, you have to do it with awareness, otherwise you'll not be able to do it. But in life, we just do it. So we take life for granted, but I can't take as an actor that given a space of 2.5 hours or 1.5 hours for granted at all. So I live fully in that. It gives me wonder great to see you here before me, O my soul's joy. If after every tempest comes such calms, then may the wind blow till they have wakened death, and let the labouring bark climb over hills of seas and duck again as low as hills from heaven. If it were to die, it were now to be happy, for I fear my soul hath a content so absolute that not another comfort like to this succeeds in unknown fate. That's Shakespeare.
Amazing. Wonderful. Wonderful having you.
Thank you.